What's up, y'all? Long time no see. It's your girl Aysia, and welcome back to a new video. So what's up, y'all? Welcome back to a new video. Today's video is a little bit different. It's kind of like a continuation of my college series, but I kind of wanted to talk about an important topic that I feel like I went through that most people don't really explain to people after they graduate, or maybe even during their last year of college. Imposter syndrome is something I didn't know about until I got out of college, till I graduated, and I didn't really have a name for it. So I kind of want to discuss what life is with imposter syndrome, what it is, how does it affect people and the way they think, if you're an overthinker. In my personal experience, I would like to say that I am no certified specialist. I'm not a therapist. This is my personal experience. So if you are seeking help or needing help on these certain topics, please go see a professional. Just putting that reference out there. I have a therapist. Now I have a therapist. But I'm saying I want to talk about some of the things people don't really tell you that you'll feel after you get your degree and what they hide from that. So let's get into this video. So in my previous video, I mentioned I graduated in 2022. I had no clue what I was going to do with my degree. I don't think I had any type of idea. I don't think, I went into conversion media hoping I would get something out of audio production. And the only thing about going into conversion media is you kind of have to start small. You can't just go into a big industry field. Conversion media is kind of like marketing, it's broadcasting, it's PR, it's stuff like anchoring on the news or something like that. And when you come from a place that doesn't have, say, for example, Vegas is a large place to do marketing because there's billboards, there's marquees, there's lights and flashing cars everywhere, and there's always an ad going on around in that place. Versus where I live, there's not a lot of that. So you would have to start in a small town news station and just grow in that industry. Or unless you wanted to start as a journalist, or you wanted to go into PR and you became a PR public relations person. So you would have to start small and work up, which I had no problem doing. I had no problem doing that, but I think the biggest thing that I didn't like being in front of the camera back then, which is kind of crazy because I am in front of you guys. I'm in front of y'all, but I don't think I wanted to be reporting now. I did not want to do that. I kind of like the behind scenes. I like the teleprompter and working the audio and learning how they count to make sure all the segments on the TV station is aligned. They have people to count that behind scenes. So for example, when you go to commercial break, they have people counting down the time from the commercial break till they go back to the cameras that you see on the anchors on the news. So stuff like that. I like that stuff. I also of course, editing. That's why I went into YouTube, is because I feel like I do a very good job at editing videos, and I'm gonna get better. But I like editing. So at one point I was taking a commercial practicum, and I was doing commercials for some of the programs I was in college to help better promote them, since COVID hit some of the organizations I was in really hard. I feel like when you come out of college, they tell you that you should start looking for a job probably 3, 4, 5 months before you graduate, right? And unless you're in a serious field, like a medical field, or maybe a computer science field, or something that's in that realm, engineering, somewhere in the STEM area, it's not always guaranteed you'll find a job outside of, not to say that getting any of those STEM jobs are easy, because I won't say that. I know they're not easy, but I'm saying to get like a job in advertisement and broadcasting, and it's not as easy. It's not as easy because there's only so many openings in one place, and if everyone's taking them, then it's like, where do you go? So I think for me it was hard because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I quitted music and I wanted to do audio production, but I didn't know what to do. Like, I have this degree, don't know what to do with it. So like I mentioned in my video that like in the last few months I kind of felt drained. I feel like nothing was challenging me, and I think the hardest thing was that, all right, you're Asia, you're home, finally. But now it's like, all right, you gotta get a bag. You can't just sit here no more. And it was so hard. Like, you have this degree, you're certified at certain things. You're going on Indeed, looking up marketing jobs, and at this time, I guess 2022 was still a good time for remote work at this time. So there was quite a few positions that were remote still as well. So like, it's 2022 was probably still going into the time where we could still have remote work. Now that we're in 2025, we're starting to get away from remote work now. I feel like people are starting to do that. I don't know why, they just are. But I would go on Indeed, I would go on LinkedIn, look up marketing jobs, look up PR jobs, look at social media jobs, and I would go on there and just be like, I can't do this. Like, I don't think I'm ready for it. I have no experience. Like, I went to college where it's not. Some people required you to have a master's to do it, and like in communications, like a communications degree, like which convergent media technically is a communications degree. The only master's in communication you can get is communications, and I didn't want that. That's a whole different story. But I didn't want that. But yeah, I just felt like I kept looking at every job application and just felt like this is crap. This is crap. And I kept applying. Well, I applied, like, I didn't have that much momentum. When I was fresh out of college and I felt frustrated, like I was drained from college, and then I have to turn around and go back and get another job. And you feel completely defeated. Like, you're like, oh, I don't think I'm good enough for this. Like, I'm not going to get this. You're like, no, this ain't gonna work. So Imposter Syndrome came about. I was doing a summer conference for one of my previous employers that I've been working with, and she had a guest speaker talk about like Imposter Syndrome. I'm like, what is that? And she explains it feels like when you don't feel like you're deserving, or you don't feel like you're not enough for something, even though you have the qualification. Something that was like, whoa, like that exists. Because I promise you, for weeks before then, I have completely felt like I was not enough for that, for going into a field out of my career. And I know I have to start from the bottom. I have to start from somewhere. You don't just get a high paying job like this unless you're like, you got heck of experience straight out of college. You're volunteering all sorts of ways. Like, that's the only way you could do that. So that's not the issue of starting from the bottom. The issue was, like, I just did not feel like I did not feel it. And that comes from a lot of things of like always feeling like you're not enough, and like that was also a mental health thing as well. When she said that, I was like, whoa, like, and then, like, when she did her Q&A, I was kind of like, how do you get away from that? Like, how do you break away from feeling? And she was kind of like, it's kind of like something you just have to work through. It's not And this is also why I said like this is also like I'm not a professional in this sense because um some people may need therapy to work through that, because that's also it's a little bit of self-confidence and it's also about knowing your worth. And if these two things are not they're not equal or somewhat balanced or you lack both of, it can affect your mental a lot. A lot of people do not talk about that. I think people don't talk about life after college. They tell you to prep for college and high school. You make it through your freshman year of college, but they don't say much about life after college. You take your capstone. Your capstone's typically the last class you take before you graduate, and they tell you like depending on what major. Like my major prepped us for a resume and to have like a graphic design website with all our stuff that we did in that program. They show you the basics of like you need a resume to get the jobs, you need to have some type of portfolio to show off your work or whatever you've done. But they don't really say like, hey, you might feel like this. You might feel like you're not deserving to be where you are. And to me, that sounds insane. I'm not going to lie to you. It sounds very insane for someone who spent 4 years of their life in student loan debt feeling like you're not enough for a job application. I remember that whole summer of 2022 feeling like crap. Like, I had went by the time the end of the summer, because the summer I had a summer job. I had like a temporary summer job. It lasted for like 7 to 8. It lasted for 7 to 8 weeks, and I only had so much money saved from that job. And then right after this job, we went on a business trip for this said job, and that was probably like more eye-opening for me. And when I came back, it was like, oh, I'm back to reality. Like, all right, so I'm done with the trip. Now we're here. I don't have a summer job. I don't have a trip to go on to. I'm delayed time. So here we are in August. It's August 2022, and I don't have a job. And so at the time, I was getting offered a teaching position, which, mind you, I've never went into education. I never went into education. So for me to go into education and be like, oh, I'm gonna be a teacher was crazy. And at the time I was so desperate, like I thought about it. I honestly thought about, like taking it because I was that desperate. Like I needed a job. My brother had just moved out this time. So it was me and my parents, and I was desperate. I saw how much they were stressing. It stressed me out. Then the person I worked for this summer was like, hey, just fill this job. And I kind of forgot I did it. I kind of forgot that I did this. But long story short, I got the job. And I just want to talk about how imposter syndrome could affect you, because even now it still kind of plays a role in my work career life. Because when I got this job a few years, I lost the job due to finance reasons. And so like last summer, I spent the whole summer looking for a job. And it was the hardest thing. It was so hard for me not to just give up. Like it was so bad that I was sleeping with the phone near my ear. But now I have my new job, I walk on eggshells. I walk on eggshells sometimes because sometimes I feel like I'm not deserving to be in my position. Even though I'm well qualified for this position, there are sometimes like I give myself the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like, Girl, be for real. be be for real. Like be so for real. But I think it's important that people have this conversation about imposter syndrome. I think it's important to have for graduates because it's a scare. Like, I'm not saying the world. I mean, the world is scary. You just don't know what's out there. Like, and it's also a different time and generation because now you have AI. Now you have tools that can help you rebuild your resume to make you fit a position. You know, there's things that are happening now that didn't, like, it wasn't as easy to do that. Because back in 2022, we didn't have a system where we could just put our resume in and then you tell it to tailor it to the job resume and it will spit it back out for you. We didn't have that. We did not have that. So it was like you have to rely on your resume, your skills, how you write it out. Like my first resume I ever made was on Canva, and I was like, oh, this is fire! Like, it's got a picture of me, it's in color, it exudes me. But then people was like, yeah, you shouldn't use templates for resumes because colleges are not gonna want templated resumes. Like, they're not gonna work. So you should do it on Word doc. And I'm like, that's boring. Why would y'all want? I don't understand. Why would y'all want that? The ways I dealt with imposter syndrome, I have a good support system. I have to remind myself that I do deserve things, even when I feel like I don't. Like, even when I definitely don't feel like I deserve something, I have to remind myself I do. Even now when I deal with it, like, me and my coworker kind of have the same similar mind thoughts as well, so we kind of reassure each other. But I think that's important. You felt like this after you graduate, or you think you might feel like this after you graduate, it's okay. I promise you, it might seem like, oh, I'm never gonna get something, it's never gonna hit. Because the difference between 2022 Aysia versus 2024 Aysia is that 2024 Aysia was hustling like she needed a job. Like, I put probably like 6 job applications out a day for 2 months straight. I probably applied to like 60 plus jobs. That's how much. Back in 2022, Aysia was not doing that. I'm not gonna hold you, because at the time I just didn't know what I wanted to. I did not know what I wanted to do. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I say all this to say because imposter syndrome may seem nerve-wracking, but it's not. It's just, you have to believe in yourself. You didn't put that 4 years in for nothing, or however many, whatever you did, the associate, certificate, whatever the heck you did. First off, be proud of yourself. Be proud. Matter of fact, be proud of yourself. I'm serious, because first off, everyone's path is their path, right? And so whatever you get, whatever you wanted to get, you should be proud. So let's start there. And when you get out of college, you're gonna feel this time clock, and no one gave it to you. Literally, no one gave you this time clock, and you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it ticking. You're gonna feel it ticking every second, because society has put on people that right after college you're supposed to get a job, and it's not possible. I mean, for some people, yes. Like, if you know you're going into this specific medical field and they need a surplus of this, then yes, you can, because it's a specific job only specific people with certain credentials can get. But if it's like something like me, where it's an open market and anyone could really get it, because you don't really have to go to college to be a cameraman, or you don't really have to go to college to be an audio producer. Like, anyone could get that job. The soft skills that you don't have to physically go to college for to get, you could probably you probably could get that job. Unless it's a job that specifically needs something, then probably not. If I had known in 2022 and where I would be in 2025, which is only a little 3 years. First off, let's start here. I would never imagined in a day in my life that I would be working at a university. Like, never did I think my first big girl job, because I've been working for a long time, but I've worked in smaller capacities, but I've had bigger roles. I'm in a corporate setting, like I'm in an office. I work for university. People don't just get into the university. Like, people don't just get university jobs on their first job out of college. So for me to be almost 3 years into working, so September would be like my 3rd year in the university. If we're not counting the section of break that I had when I lost my job this summer, if we're not counting that, it'd be 3 years, continuous, 3 years. I don't think they're counting it because it was only like 4 weeks I was fired. Well, I wasn't fired, I was let go. That was never in the books for me, And I'm kind of liking what I do. And because I work in a university setting, somebody said, "Hey, you should do HR." Someone said, "You know what? I think I think you might like HR," and that's where that story comes from. But I thought I wanted to sit down and have this conversation with you all about getting to know what imposter syndrome, what it is, how does it make you feel, and bringing some light to it. Even though I'm not like the best person to speak on it, because I'm not like a professional who understands. I don't think people talk about it. I think people need to talk about it more, because I had no clue that existed. I didn't even know that this was a thing. Like, I did not know this word existed. So for imposter syndrome to be something that I wish I had known, like I could pinpoint it. Like, now I know, like, oh, when I think of these things in my head, oh, that's just imposter syndrome. Aysia, don't do that. don't do that to yourself. But anyways, hope you guys like this video. Please let me know if you want to have more conversations about this. I would love to have more conversations about this. I think it's something important to me. I feel like that experience was a part of my transition into adulthood a little bit. Like, I had to know what this was before I picked up on everything else. So if I didn't figure out what that was, I would have been really confused. But yeah, let me know if you guys would like any more videos like this, or any more college advice videos. Make sure you like, comment, and share, and press that bell notification so you know what the next video is. And we're out of here.